Am I live? Welcome, if I am. Jeez, slow down. It's a parking lot. Dale Earnhardt Jr. These fucking people, man. I've done it before, but I do not like when people cut, like, horizontally across a parking lot. Like, they don't run parallel with the spots, and they just cut across everything. So you gotta get to a parking spot that quick. Jesus. The people that will fight you over a parking spot. Anyways, welcome to Live. I'm Rob. Welcome to the talk show. Welcome to the Next Joe Rogan experience. I love that Joe called it an experience. He's the Jimi Hendrix of podcasters. Ah, yes. Jimi Hendrix of brah. The Bra Bible. Joe Rogan. Is he Natick's own? Is he from Natick, Mass? I think Joe's from Natick. Anyways, I'm Rob. Hit subscribe. I go live every weekday. That's my word. My word's my bond. So I go live every weekday, but who is revving their car in a Target parking lot? People. I go live every weekday, but I can't guarantee, I can't give you my word on what time it is. So that's why I say, please hit the notification bell. You'll get notified when I go live, and you can join me. Jump up in the chat. Tell me who you think the next Joe Rogan experience should be. These people are driving way too fast in this parking lot. It's starting to get me upset. I don't want to have to scold anybody, but I might. It's not worth it. Not worth it, folks. And people are going, you just give them, I taught my kids, give them the thumbs down, and then you move about your day. Give them the thumbs down. I got that from Pat Finnerty here on YouTube. YouTube legend Pat Finnerty. He said it's better than the middle finger, and I concur. So we're going to talk about the next Joe Rogan, who the Atlantic article in the description. I'll always put the article in the description. Side note, asterisk on that. YouTube's been deleting my descriptions. So if it's not in the description, I put it in there, I promise. I put hashtags, a little blurb, and the article I talk about in the description. And YouTube, I go back to check them or add some stuff. Welcome to everybody joining. I'm just explaining. We're going to talk about the next Joe Rogan experience podcaster. And I always, there's a link in the description, okay? An article by The Atlantic talking about Theo Vaughn. And YouTube, what I want people to know is if you go there, don't think I'm a liar. Yo, these people are drive the route of the, that bitch is on the phone. Sorry, I don't mean to call her that, but when you're cutting across the parking lot, you almost hit somebody, like, you're a dumb bitch. There's no other way to explain it. Like, don't do that. That's dangerous. And you're on the phone. There's kids walking around. So I always put the article in the description. And YouTube, I don't know if anybody else is a YouTuber or has experienced this, but I go back to add something to the description or to put in the keywords, the SEO, which all these people on LinkedIn, I think they're from India, keep telling me I'm doing it wrong. They're even in my comments. Thank you very much, but I can't pay you. I go back to check on it, and the hashtags are gone. The article description is gone. So if you go to look for it, I apologize. I'm trying to go back through and save it. I've done it 3 times on one of my lives, and it just keeps disappearing. So I might have to drop a YouTube help desk if that even exists. But I want to talk about Joe Rogan and who the Atlantic is ready to crown as Prince of the Old King Friday. Was that the guy from Mr. Rogers? The puppet King Friday? Prince Tuesday? Remember Fred Rogers? Anybody? Great guy. Look for the helpers, is what he said. I got something in my eye. God damn. So this article about the Atlantic, from the Atlantic, is talking about Theo Vaughn, who's a great comic. I've got to meet him when I was working at radio. Real down-to-earth guy. Seems humble. He's got a great podcast. They said Theo Vaughn's podcast is number 8 in the country right now. But I don't know why the article, I should have looked up who wrote this. I apologize. That's my new thing. Always looking up who wrote the article. Figure out what they got invested. That's just how America goes now. They're promoting this. Maybe he's got like stock in the Theo Vaughn podcast. That's going to be next. Podcasts are going to have IPOs, initial price off, initial whatever offering, and they're going to, God damn, I got something in my eye. They're going to start letting investors invest in podcasts, sell them on the stock market. I don't know what this article in The Atlantic has in Theo Vaughn. Maybe he's just a fan, but I would be hesitant to crown anybody the next Joe Rogan of podcasting. Can we be honest? Did Joe Rogan help the planet by becoming the Joe Rogan of podcasters? I know there's a legion of fans that love him, and I know people in the comments are going to say you're just jealous, but it's not that. Trust me. Yes, I would love $100 million to force people to have a Spotify subscription to my live stream. I don't know if I could do that, though. You know, I'd only want to do it if people could access for free. It's just like when Howard Stern went from terrestrial to satellite, and people were pissed that they had to pay to get something that they had gotten for free. Yeah, Howard Stern got a big payday, but what do you do to your audience? You know, especially like a loyal audience. Anyways, I'm happy for Joe Rogan. Like I said, I think he's Natick's own. He's from Massachusetts. Meathead from Natick. I've met him a few times. He wasn't like the kindest dude. He kind of had that I'm Joe Rogan vibe to him. But still, good dude from Massachusetts. Like, I don't think he maliciously does things. And I'll say this to start out, just for all the people who are going to call me a hater, which is weird because here in America, like, isn't the greatest thing to be able to criticize? Isn't free speech about criticizing shit? You know, wasn't that the whole founding of our country? We were like, hey, no, we're not going to take it. No more taxes on our TE. I think that was the entire basis of this country. We were like, I know you in England can't talk shit on the king, but we across the pond and we're going to talk some shit. And the way they trolled people a billion years ago, back in the 1700s, was they had to write it in cursive. You know, that was the comment section back in the revolutionary days. They had to write a document, a declaration in cursive, and ship that stuff to the king. And the king was like, what are these comments? This is just a troll section of my empire. F this. Go kill them. It's like, we'll go to war. So, you know, things haven't changed. As much as things have changed, they're still the same. Right? And Joe Rogan, here's my credit to him. I'm gonna praise him, and I have no problem doing this. Like, I'm not a hater. I think people are fallible and they're all critiquable, including myself. Go check my comment section. You'll see people are willing and ready. But Joe Rogan did an amazing thing when he made that apology video. I think he just owned it, and he had a good, I watched his apology video. I forget what he was apologizing for. That's how impactful it was to me. It was something he said, something on his podcast, right? But when he made that apology, it was very authentic. And I give him a ton of credit for that, because a lot of times people at that height don't think they're wrong. Like, there's a dude I worked for who, because he made so much money and had done something for so long, he was like, I can't be wrong. And my response to that was like, are you the best in your field? Because why did you hire me? Why are we trying to do better? Like, if you're not wrong because of money and tenure, you better be the goddamn best. And if not, then you're doing some stuff wrong. And that's okay. That's okay to be wrong, people. Look at my YouTube channel. How many wrong things have I done? Can't make a thumbnail. Can't be funny, like the comments say. By the way, hit subscribe and notification bell. I go live every weekday. We're talking about the next Joe Rogan. Who's it going to be? And do they have to have experience in their name? Is Joe Rogan the Jimi Hendrix of podcasters? I don't know. I'm just asking you. Joe Rogan experience. It's adorable. It really is. You get to experience him. You feel like you're in the room and you could smell the magic mushrooms on his breath. So this Atlantic article, link in the description, hit subscribe and notification bell, is trying to crown Theo Vaughn as the next Joe Rogan, which it's a bad thing to do. Let's be very honest. Like, nobody takes a crown of podcasters. Yeah, you might have the most popular one, but doing that creates like this cult weird mentality. And I think a lot of people's identity gets tied into the pop icon. What is it called? The parasocial relationship, where you think you know them, but they've never even heard of you. And that becomes a weird identity crisis for people. And I'll get into that in a minute. Because I want to just make a couple of critiques on Joe Rogan, which I think happened. Well, no, I know happened after his $100 million contract. And you got to remember, people, this is not a critique on Joe Rogan. You got to remember that when people get that much money, yes, they start to think like, well, I'm right. I'm just doing things right. Like, this is God ordained. Like, I couldn't get this much money if God didn't will this, or never mind God. Like, but if society didn't think I was the second coming, you know, and that really it becomes a complex. You don't believe me? Go look at Michael Jackson's lifestyle. Okay. That dude lived bizarrely. Excellent musician, but fucking nuts. Okay. And that's not a dig on him. I think money, he had to live on a different planet. Yes, we all share Earth, but some of these people live on a different planet. Okay. And after Joe Rogan got all that money, he started, it was like right at the beginning of the pandemic too. And I was watching his show. I still think one of the best episodes of Joe Rogan Experience is when Bill Burr was on it. I wanted to do a whole video on it, breaking down two massholes talking and how one is very authentic, Bill Burr, and the other one is questionable, and I think questions himself more than he leads on to, Joe Rogan, because Bill Burr just called him on his stuff. But what happened was Joe was actually a great place for information. He was having on these infectious disease doctors who were calling what the pandemic would be. Really, really articulate people who were well versed in their field, like professionals, experience, expertise, all this stuff, right? And that's the beginning. And even Joe Rogan during the beginning was like, it makes sense. I forget the exact quote, but Joe Rogan was saying, doctors wear masks to protect themselves and protect the patient, so it makes sense that we would be doing that. And I don't want to go too much into this on YouTube because I don't know what these censor. But then it basically went to an episode I was watching where he was like asking some infectious disease doctor if going in a sauna can make you immune. And his whole explanation, if you haven't seen it, just Google it. I'm not going to go into it. But he was essentially at this point trying to just take what he felt and get it validated. And there was a lot of pushback against the guy who like studied this, was an expert in it. And he was like, I don't know, I heard. And whenever somebody says I heard, most of the time it's like their belief is trying to be pawned off as something they heard, so they don't have to take, you know, accountability for when it's like, oh, that's stupid. It's the version of like, no stupid questions, but you want to go, well, my friend wanted to ask this question, so you don't have to own up to it. And Joe is doing that with like being able to get through those couple of years, the pandemic, by just going in the sauna, and that would keep him clean. The heat would kill it, the steam. Like, it's hilarious to listen to it, and it shows like his transformation of like, I can't be wrong, can I? Like, all this money's got to be able to save me. Then fast forward from that to Bill Burr's episode with Joe Rogan, where they're sitting there and they're debating masks, and Bill just calls him out. He's like, I'm gonna sit here, pretend to listen to you about what I should wear, as opposed to doctors, as opposed to all the other influence, you sitting in front of an American flag, smoking a cigar, pretending like you know. And he basically got Joe to admit, like, Joe just thinks you're a P word if you wear a mask, right? So that was kind of his transformation. And I think the money had something to do with it. And that happens to people. So I think it's very dangerous to make Theo Von, who I believe is like a vulnerable dude who's always curious, who's seeking to learn more and bringing his experience. And I love Theo Von because he's in recovery, which anybody who's done that, you know, has a much different take on life than a lot of other people. And, you know, that's really what I love about certain podcasters. Or let me start by saying this. One thing I hate about myself is when I do something and I act in such a way that I have nothing more to learn, whether be about a subject, something in life, food, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter what you're talking about. The one thing I usually come to regret and I hate about myself is when I do something acting like I got nothing more to learn. I know everything about it, or not know everything, but I'm pretty confident what I know and what you tell me can't be, can't influence me or can't help me learn any more about this. And I feel like, and I can identify that in other people. It's a thing I don't like. I don't like when you lose that curiosity, when you stop trying to learn more or seek or hear something else. Not saying that other things have to be valid. I'm just saying, like, when you kind of shut everything else down, which we see a lot of in this society, shutting everything down. And it's not always what you think. It's not the people who are most sensitive to it. Sometimes it's the people who are screaming loudest about them being canceled or, whatever it is. Those are the people who have shut down everything and don't want to be critiqued. So much so that go look at my video where I react to the SNL bit. Which, by the way, hit subscribe because I'm going to try to put out another video on the Bill Burr podcast that just happened. And that is Bill Burr. Just love him. He's authentic. He is authentic. But if you look at the comment section in my SNL video, it's like 10 people telling me I'm not funny and how to do it better. And one who was like, this is cool. And almost all of them I comment on. By the 10th one, I was like, bro, read the other comments. Everyone's telling me the same thing. I get it. But most of those, I go, thank you. I will try better next time. I'm guessing people are like, listen, don't always listen to the comments. But my ears are open. If this many people felt vocal enough to tell me to do better, then I got to do better. And I take that serious. I would like to do better. I can't appease all the people all the time, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try to do better with my content. So I'm open to it, even as sucky and as much as it, hits the ego right in the balls. Does your ego have balls? Probably. And this is something that I think Joe Rogan has lacked. I think he used to have it. That's why it was called The Experience. And now I think the money has polluted his mind to think like, well, when you make this much, you got to know something, which is a dangerous place to reside. And I think Theo Von still has that. He has that curiosity. He has that je ne sais quoi. That thing where he still wants to have discussions and not so much have an agenda. Which I think that's what the Joe Rogan show has come to. I don't know. Is there still 1 billion people listening to Joe Rogan? I don't know. I did not look that up. I don't know if he is the #1 podcast in the world still. I do not know. But, it'd be interesting to see what he's doing right now. I know he's still very popular, and when his clips go out on YouTube and he gets the best guests, and it's usually some kind of experience, to say the least, he'll tread in that water that normally it doesn't. He has no niche, so that's really great. There are things to compliment him about this. But I think trying to crown Theo Von as the next Joe Rogan is not only silly, it's just silly. But what does that do? I should have looked up the author of the article because I got a feeling it's Theo Von's best friend. And he's got everything to gain. So again, I leave the description. I leave the article down in the description. I highly recommend you check it out. I don't really listen to the Theo Von podcast. I've seen clips of it a bunch. And again, he's a good dude. But I don't want to say he doesn't have the confidence, and this is coming from someone who, God, I can identify that. But you also see him when he interacts with very authentic people, which Bill Burr, again, Bill Burr is, if anything, the next Joe Rogan, but he'll never be the next Joe Rogan because I don't think he would laugh at that title. He's just authentic. He is who he is. There's a lot of those people around Massachusetts. And I think when you've seen even Bill Burr with Theo Von, you've seen Theo Von start to question, or try to play along with whoever he needs to like him, which is not a bad thing. We all do it. I do it. We all do. Like, this isn't a critique. I'm just saying, like, Joe Rogan lost that. Joe Rogan has an agenda. And with the money and power, it comes like, I don't need you to like me, but you need to like me to get further or whatever. We've seen it, right? We've seen it. Look at Joe Rogan's little comedy rat pack or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what he calls it. The bro pack, the meathead comedy pack. I don't know what it is. But like Brendan Schaub, whatever his name is, that comic who absolutely was just a mess. Shouldn't have been a comic, shouldn't have been a podcaster. And because Joe Rogan propped him up, he got to do all those things. And I'm sure you heard of Brendan Schwab, whatever, the MMA fighter turned comic turned podcaster, who's just a joke, who is not a person you want to be friends with. Let's put it like that. Just not a nice dude. Just phony, fake, two-time backstabbing piece of S. Probably DM your girl when you weren't looking while he's with you. Like that kind of cat. You know, no character, no moral code. But again, because Joe Rogan had the money, the power, he propped him up, fed it in his head, and that took... I mean, if Brendan Schaub didn't know Joe Rogan, we probably wouldn't know Brendan Schaub. Let's be honest. Let's be honest here. So I want to bring that story to you and really hear what people think about it, you know? Leave it in the comments. I'm going to wrap this up, so if you can hit subscribe and the notification bell. To everybody who has subscribed, thank you so much. The new subscribers are always amazing. People joining the family, joining in solidarity. I love you. I'm very grateful for you. And the people who have been subscribed and joined, you mean the world to me. I'm trying to release, I got to wrap this up because I'm trying to record another video. That's my biggest issue, is like things go trending and then I can't hit it that week. It's hard for me to get these videos out, especially because my phone's on its last legs. Trying to edit on this phone is brutal. But this Bill Burr, two comedians sitting for Bill Maher's podcast. I don't want to say going head to head, but Bill Burr is so authentic that when people are being phony, he can't help but just bring it back to the real. And it's amazing to witness, and it's also amazing to see these people who try to pull off this stuff, like Bill Maher. You know, he tries to pull off like he's smarter than everybody, and he's not. He's just not. He knows different words, he knows different things, but he ain't. He ain't a professional in everything. He's a professional comic, so he can speak to that. But other things, he's just like everybody else. Maybe a little more red, but it was just interesting to watch that dynamic. So I'm going to make a video on that. Because it needs to be done. Plus, I love Bill Burr, so it's a passion project for all those people getting ready to jump in the comments and tell me I suck. Thank you. You keep the fire burning. I'll tell you that. And thank you for watching. All the commenters who hate my content and leave a comment, you're helping the algorithm. So God bless you for watching and commenting. I can't get the people that like my content to leave a comment. So you haters are inspiring me and keeping me to push for better. JM Studios. Hi, man. What is up, JM Studios? I got to check out your YouTube channel. Do you do YouTube if you got studios in the name? I'm interested now. The name got me fascinated. Thank you for jumping into the chat, JM. If you could hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. I think I've said it. I'm trying to sneak it in more and more through the live streams because I realize I'm very bad at that. And all these how to grow your channels keep telling us, you know, you gotta call to action. You gotta tell them to subscribe. So I try to put that in more. So if you could subscribe and hit the notification bell. What I offer is a unique take. I'm like the poor man's Joe Rogan experience. I'm just the experience part. I got a lot of life experience. Learn from me. Don't make the mistakes I made. But I try to bring content to you every single weekday. I'm live every weekday. So hit the notification bell and join me when I go live. I'll bring you weird and entertaining stuff. And I'm always trying to push for better, right? So JM Studios, thank you for joining. Hopefully you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Again, keep an eye out for that video with Bill Burr and Bill Maher. If you haven't seen it, don't worry. I'm gonna include a lot of the video in my video. And for the people who keep commenting to shut up and stop pausing it, I'm gonna pause the video of those two comics, and I'm gonna talk in between it. So, heads up. Thando Jocks, yes. What do you think of Peter Turchin? Who is that? Thando Jocks, one of my favorite YouTube names. I'm still convinced you're a Jedi, and you never answered me, so pretty sure you're a Jedi. I don't know who Peter Turchin is, I'll be honest with you. So if you could drop it in there before I go, that would be amazing. And I can't Google it right now. I don't want to lose the live stream. God knows that happens all the time. If I do lose the live stream, hit subscribe, notification bell. Oh, and a thumbs up. I just seen a thumbs up. I forgot about that. See, I'm bad at this. I'm going to get better, though, every day. I'm pushing myself to get better. Because this is going to be the next Joe Rogan experience. This live stream is going to be it. We're going to have guests on. We're going to talk about monkeys in space and how we colonize underneath the earth, hollow earth. Dando, I don't know, Peter Turchin, man. I don't know if you can put in the description. I mean, in the chat, but if not, I got to wrap it up. I got to work on this video some more. So I thank everybody who joined. Is today Thursday? I think today is Thursday, so I'll be live again tomorrow at some point. The rest of the day I'm going to be working on a video, editing and stuff. Recording, editing. So hit that notification bell so you can join me tomorrow. Thank you so much. Salute.